Hi guys, I'm going to read you chapter 7, the final chapter in chapter 6, the final part of the book. It's a week later, a sunny afternoon, and I'm standing in Dad's lab again, only this time it's tidy and clean. I'm looking out of our garden, stretching all the way down to the edge of the river, which sparkles in the light. The house looks just like it always did, except for the animals. Some of the butterflies we saved flitter around the rose bushes, while above in the apple tree an occasional flutter of leaves gives the pigeons' hiding place away. Beneath them all, the stag lies quietly in the shade of the lawn, polecats bouncing around him, doing their best to destroy what's left of Dad's flower beds. He barely seems to notice, and is still weak, still tired, and still sick with the berry eye, but he's also alive, and every day he takes a bit more of Dad's drug. The trial drug Polly and I helped Dad make in the lab behind me, a trial drug which, as he keeps reminding us, might not fully work. The drug which we have named Laura 2. But it has stopped the fever in most of the animals and turned the red eyes a lighter shade of pink. Polly and I helped Dad keep a precise note of what effects certain doses have. The otters, for example, when they're not turning the lawn into a mud bath, have responded better to the cure than the polecats. Yet all of them, hour by hour, day by day, grow stronger. None of us will forget those who died in the cul-de-sac. Polly and I buried them in the bottom of the garden, in the shadow of the high brick wall, because Polly said that was the proper thing to do. I hope that in some way it made up for never being able to do the same for Sydney. "Come on, kidnapper," says a voice behind me. "What are you waiting for?" I turn around to see Polly standing at the entrance to the lab in her clean clothes, with Wolf Cub, his bandage wrapped right tight round his middle. He's still limping, but some of the old growl has returned to his green eyes. He's grown too. He's beginning to change from a wolf cub, but not in all ways. "Am I the best in the world at recovering from a fire stick wound?" he asks quietly. I want to laugh, but Polly's serious expression stops me. I pick up a tray from the workshop, and they follow me down the steps and out of the garden, where the pigeons fly down from the tree to meet us, lining up on a low wall. I look at them, every single one in turn, grey and white, because I know this is possibly the last time I will ever see them. I place the tray carefully down on the ground, and with Polly kneeling next to me, we begin to unpack its contents. Bags bound of gel batons, each one packed with a slow-release version of Laura 2. One by one, we take out the bags and fasten one to each bird, tying them on lightly with ribbons. I explain carefully to them how all they need to do is pull the ribbon to release and open the bag. The gel sticks can be chewed, licked, pecked, or even swallowed whole. The effect will be the same. They all nod their understanding, apart from the white one, who says thoughtfully, "Stick the bag and chew the ribbon." Loaded with their cargo, the pigeons turn to say goodbye. First to the General, who has appeared from nowhere, on Polly's shoulder this time, and she doesn't seem to mind at all. "If we should meet again one day, brave comrades," he says, nervously feeling their sharp beaks with his antennae, "be so good as to remember that we once fought together on the same side." "We shall try," says the grey pigeons. "Remember, one day we shall fight together on the same side," adds the white pigeon wisely, before joining the rest of his flock, who are already waddling down to where the stag lies on the lawn. "Goodbye, great stag," the pigeon says, and move to leave before turning back awkwardly. "Will we see you again at the ring of trees?" He nods at them sleepily through half-closed eyes. "You will see me again, I'm sure of it." "Yes, we're sure we won't see you again," says the white pigeon cheerily, before being nearly pecked to death by the others. Then they scuffle down to the mouse, who performs a traditional farewell dance that seems to involve flicking every one of their heads with her tail. But as soon as she's finished, she abruptly declares, "Well, I don't much like goodbyes. I've said enough in my time," and scurries away under a bush. So the birds flock up and land on the wolf cub's back, pecking busily at his fur until he shakes them off with a growl. And finally, they come to me. I pick the white pigeon up in my hands while Polly looks on. "Pigeons," I say, "you've a hard journey ahead. You might not all make it, and who knows how many animals you will still find living at the ring." And I stroke the bird's beak and feathers for perhaps the last time. I don't want to let them go not on their own, but they will be faster than we could ever be. Maybe there will be enough left of you to start again. You know, my father's magic is not perfect yet, but it's better than no magic at all. "Better than no magic at all," repeats the white pigeon softly to himself, like he's understanding something for the very first time. I kiss him gently on the top of his head before throwing my hands up, releasing him into the air. The others follow him, flying in formation up above the trees, off into the endless sky beyond. We wait until the last pigeon is nothing more than a distant dot over the horizon, until there's nothing to stare at but the clouds floating by, and then I feel Polly's hand softly taking mine and leading me back up the garden to where Dad is now knelt by the stag, stroking his flank. "Kester," she says as we walk up towards them, "now that the pigeons have gone home with the cure, do you think we could go and find my—" She doesn't finish her sentence as I freeze and drop her hand, because I can hear voices, talking, an animal voice, talking to a human voice, except it isn't mine. I race up the garden towards Dad and the stag. They both turn to me, and Stag, still looking woozy from the drugs, his eyelids drooping low, Dad looking startled, turning round, as he says, as my dad says to the stag, "Tell me, great stag, is this in the dream?" The stag nods slowly, and weak as he is, he staggers to his feet. The wolf cub comes to him in his shadow, the mouse and the general on his horns. I have never seen them look so serious. My dad can talk to animals too. Is that what Mum meant when she said, "He has to tell you"? I'm looking at Dad, at the stag, furious. "I'm sorry," he says. "I know I should have, chip off the old, but they took you away before I could." "Yes," interrupts the stag. "Yes, this was in the dream." He turns to me, half his head dark in the shadow of the old apple tree, his horns sharp against the sky. "Wildness. The dream said that the son of the man who talked would lead us over earth and rock, through water and fire, to save a wild. This is what this you have done, and we thank you for it." He touches my hair with his nose, but I'm afraid the dream did not end there. There are so many questions bouncing around my head that I don't know which one to ask first, and then a noise makes us all turn round. The noise coming from a distant dot in the sky, high above the glass towers. A dot that at first I think is one of the pigeons, perhaps the white one losing his way again. But if it is a bird, it's a very metal one, making a whoop-whoop noise with whirring rotor blades instead of wings. A metal bird with purple sides, a large F painted across the front. A metal bird heading straight for us. But Dad isn't frightened. He puts his arm around my shoulder as we watch it and grips me tight. "You didn't think he'd, let us get away with it," he murmurs. The Factorium helicopter slices through the air, its windows dark and closed, the steel blades spinning circles of shadow across the river as the sun disappears behind the horizon. "Soldier," whispers a voice from my shoulder. I look down to see the general, the cockroach who first talked to me in the yard. The rest of the dream begins. "Are you ready?" he hisses. I'm not sure. There's so much that I don't. But then I look again at the brave insect on my shoulder. I think of the pigeons flying on past the glass towers. I think of the wild we're going to save. I turn round to look at the animals we've already rescued, the dad I found again, the new friends I made, the journey we took together, everything we did. The roar of the helicopter engine grows deafening, the trees sway in the rush of air, the downdraft pulls at our faces. I reach out for Dad's hand and for Polly's. The stag stands behind me, the wolf cub at my side. "Yes, General," I whisper back. "We're ready." I hope you enjoyed that. This book is a trilogy, so there are 2 more books, should you like them and find out what's happening. I've read them both and they're both really interesting. They're called The Dark Wild and The Wild Beyond. Hope you've enjoyed our story. Thank you for listening.